It feels like everybody's been talking about 120 Life. I learned about it, and I'm so excited about sharing this good news because millions of people face high blood pressure problems. And this is a real interesting idea to tackle it. And our upcoming guest is a co-founder of 120 Life. Ira Antelis is involved in the business end of it, consulting on business decisions. He's also got, you're an interesting guy. You've been writing and producing music for commercials, records, theater, movies, dance, TV for over 40 years. How does a guy like Ira go from being in that space to helping to co-found 120 Life? Tell us about that journey.
As we all, first of all, again, thanks for having me. And it's probably one of the more unlikely things that will happen to anybody, but I had a really serious health issue. And my blood pressure was really, really high. And they said, actually, Dr. Lowenstein, the head cardiologist at Loyola, who's my friend and doctor, he said, if you don't get this down in 3 weeks, we're going to have to operate. And my first question was, what's high blood pressure and what can I do to lower it? And they basically said, here's some medication and go figure it out in a nice way. So I researched everything I could. I went on a salt-free diet, which immediately helped it lower. And over time, I kept reading about these things that lowered your blood pressure. I read the studies. I'm like, wait a minute. Pomegranate juice lowers your blood pressure. Hibiscus tea lowers your blood pressure. Beets lower your blood pressure. So one day I'm sitting at home thinking, wait a minute. If they all lower it a little bit, what would happen if we put them together? At which point my wife called her divorce lawyer and thought I had lost my mind. And I went to Whole Foods to buy all these things thinking, there's nothing on the market. Think about this, 120 million people, Mike, and there was 0 drinks for high blood pressure. I'm like, it can't be that hard. So that became the other half of my life, music and blood pressure.
Wow, it's such a great story, and I love all the things you offer our audience, like a 2-week money-back guarantee. If you don't see results, there is a money-back guarantee. You get 15% off when you use the promo code Mike, and the website is real simple to remember, 120life.com. Just for my own edification, do you have both domains, the number version of 120 and the word spelled out, or is it just 120life.com?
Yeah, it's just 120life.com with the numbers. And
gotcha.
As you might know, I have a CEO who runs the company, but I insisted on customer relations because I love people. Nice. So if you want your money back or you have questions, I'm calling you back. And people are like, nice. I can't believe it. I'm like, yes, it's me. So if you have any questions, feel free to call. And yes, we guarantee you could try this for 2 weeks. And if you are unhappy, if you don't like the way the bottle looks, call me back and I'll refund your money.
Which you don't hear that kind of story very often, and that's why your whole story has jumped out at me. It's leapt out at me. 120life.com. Again, 15% off your order with the promo code Mike. We're visiting with Ira Antelis, who's the co-founder of 120 Life, and it's real simple. I mean, I think conceptually, it's a powdered drink mix, and people all over the country are seeing results. Yes. Are you surprised at the level of success that 120 Life is achieving right now, or did you see it coming in the crystal ball?
To be honest, because of my background in advertising, I thought, we'll put this out and a big company would come immediately and see the value of it. But it hasn't happened quite like that. But we just celebrated our 6th year. And we're growing leaps and bounds because I think people want other means to take care of their health. And what this shows people is I can do this on my own. You can take steps. This is something that is solvable for most people.
120life.com. And Ira, if you've got any kind of an issue, you'll get a hold of Ira when you call, which is kind of a rare thing in these days. I love that. I love the sound of that. Are there, obviously it's a smart idea to put something into your system that's good for you, that's healthy, that's natural, that can lower your blood pressure. Besides enjoying 120 Life, do you have any other tips or changes in life Obviously, losing weight is a big deal as well. But do you recommend to people that they can take some steps to live a better, healthier life?
Yes. And the first thing, and I always say this is the most important, I'm like, if you don't want to buy 120 Life, that's fine. But the first thing everybody must know is their numbers. You have to know if you have high blood pressure, because if you don't, it's called a silent killer. So anything you can do, either go to the doctor, go to the pharmacist and buy a blood pressure machine for your home. They're like $20 to $30. I've had mine for 7 years, and I use it almost every day. So know your numbers is the first thing. The second thing, again, just as important as maybe drinking 120 Life, cut your salt and sodium, and you do that by reading labels. So a very good example is when I go to Costco, I will look at the labels for let's say nuts, and I'm going to buy salt-free nuts. It doesn't taste as good, but it's a lot healthier. Things like that. Stress, we're living in very stressful times, in our lives, but you got to really minimize your stress because it can have a terrible effect on your blood pressure. Those kind of things.
I love it. I love the message that we can impart to our audience. And again, I truly hope everybody who's got a high blood pressure issue or somebody in your life who's facing high blood pressure problems will go to 120life.com. Again, after 2 weeks, if you don't see results, you're going to get your money back. And this is a guy who clearly, I love that. And you've put your money. And you put your money where your mouth is. And again, I'm just so riveted by your journey because, as I understand it, you've worked with people like Patti LaBelle and Christina Aguilera and B.B. King. You've been worked with some of the biggest heavyweights and superstars of the music industry and the entertaining industry. And here you are now devoting your life to trying to get people on a healthier track and lower their blood pressure. It's a great story.
Thank you. My story is what could be more, and I love music, and I still do a lot of it, but if you could save somebody's life, if you could help somebody with their life, can you give me something that's more important than that? And I know, because I get the emails, that when people call me and say my blood pressure went, and I could show them to you, from 180 over 110 to 140 over 80, I know their risk of heart disease and strokes are going down. So I know we're definitely helping people with their lives. So I can't put a price on that.
No, I can't either. And I'm just grateful that you could spend some time with us here on the Mike Gallagher Show. And when we get you back, I got to find out what jingles you've written for. Are you kidding me? This is not a guy who writes jingles for the Acme window washing company down the street. I'm talking Disney, McDonald's, Gatorade. Is there a famous jingle from McDonald's that all of us would recognize?
Actually, the most famous jingle I wrote the Michael Jordan jingle, like Mike, if I could be like Mike.
Right. Oh, right. That's right. To be like Mike. That was you?
That was me. That's the one everybody knows.
All right, so this is my brush with greatness. We're going to try to save lives, and I get to meet the guy who wrote...
I'm talking to you. It's my brush with greatness.
No, this is so cool. And hey, be like Mike. Maybe be like Mike Gallagher and take 120 Life. 120life.com. And again, promo code Mike to get 15% off. Ira Antelis, thank you so much for visiting with us here on the Mike Gallagher Show. Come back and join us, and keep fighting the good fight, because you're on a noble mission, and I'm excited at the possibility of at the likelihood that we're going to get a lot of people healthier. All the best. Keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks for having me.